and welcome back to my channel, and this week is another reading vlog. I'm keeping my promise that I set in the last one. It's almost 10 p.m. on Tuesday night. I haven't done too much reading so far this week. Anyway, as I was saying, I haven't done a whole lot of reading this week so far, just because well, to be fair, I'm 2 days in and I'm at work all week, so most of my reading is gonna inevitably get done at the weekend when I have 2 days off in a row. So I'm gonna hopefully fly through whatever, but I'm working all earlies this week, which means I'm awake at 4:30 in the morning to leave a little after 6 to get to work for 7, and then I'm obviously there for 8 hours. I finish at 3 and then I come home and I'm tired. Today I got back and I just kind of watched YouTube for a bit, and then suddenly at 7, after I'd eaten dinner, I decided that I didn't want to sit in bed anymore, hence why I'm at my desk now. Not to read, but to journal and do a bit of writing. Only fan fiction writing at the moment, because I'm writing for a comfort ship because I need it. I think I mentioned in my last vlog that my anxiety has been on a bit of a high at the moment, but that kind of, I think, is par for the course when you have a new job, and I'm autistic and I'm having to kind of deal with loads of new social situations, and it's a lot, especially trying to figure out how to actually interact with everyone and all of my different co-workers and stuff, and I'm stressed all the time. But I'm starting to get the hang of a lot of the actual work processes, so I'm starting to feel a bit better about that. I think it's very much the social aspect. I've also started answering the phone, so I'm impressed with myself, to be honest. But yeah, reading wise, I haven't read anything today, because I have just been doing the writing and the journaling and stuff, but I do want to try and get another, at least one more chapter read of this today before I go to sleep, just because I can turn the brightness down on this and still be able to read. I am obviously carrying over from the last vlog, reading Realms of Wrath and Ruin, which, for those who don't know, is the sequel to Cities and Smoke and Starlight, which I read in my last reading vlog, so you can go back and watch that if you want any information about the series and stuff. I did read up to part 2 in this on Sunday, I think, so I shared some of my thoughts in the tail end clip of last video, so I'm not gonna reiterate myself, especially because I've only read one chapter in part 2 and not a whole lot has happened. So it's definitely going to be a slower vlog this week than what I had last week, just because I'm working the earlies, so I don't have a lot of energy when I get home and actually have time to film and read and everything. Next week I'm working later shifts, so the video will have me in the morning when I'm more likely to be higher energy and actually get stuff done. So that's kind of all I can give you for reading updates, but there's a few random miscellaneous journaling stuff I felt like talking about. So for those of you who have watched my content for a while, know that this was my academic journal when I started my 3rd year. Got to January, then I got depressed and didn't do it anymore, and it turned into just a glorified book of to-do lists and therapy notes from my CBT. But this guy, my yellow leuchtturm, which I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is my life journal. This is where I put a lot of my thoughts and feelings. I have had it since July of 2020, right before I started university, and I haven't written in it every day, hence why it's lasted me 3 years, but because I've gone periods of time where I literally haven't written in it for a month, 2 months, but I am getting to the tail end of it. it is missing some pages because I did rip some out to use in, I think, my reading journal, but I'm literally on like the last few pages, and I've been like looking at other options for what I want to do kind of moving forward, because I have seen a lot of people, because I watch Megan Rhiannon, I think, if I'm remembering her name correctly, who is also autistic, and she films a lot of like, she has like the Attic Archive series, and I really love it. It's like really chill and really calming. And she is kind of using a Hobonichi cousin. And I've watched loads of like flip throughs of it. So like, I'm kind of thinking of getting one of them for 2024 and kind of seeing how I go with it. Because currently my life thoughts and my like admin stuff, my life admin stuff, are kind of scattered. I have so many, I do loads of post-it notes. Like so many of like my notes to myself are on post-it notes that just end up stuck in here by the end of it. So I'm kind of just like, I want a place where everything can go together, because I love analog like journaling and everything and note tracking, but I do also use Notion, but I don't use Notion for journaling because I don't like it. When I'm like doing my thoughts and feelings, for some reason I can do it a lot better with pen and paper than I can a keyboard. Like I do enough projecting on my characters as is. Like I don't think I can actively like type out stuff like that. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. I just feel a lot more kind of personal when I'm like physically writing it out. So kind of, I anticipate that I'm gonna get to the end of this journal probably by the end of October, and then I'm thinking for November and December I just do my thoughts and feelings journaling in this journal amidst my like to-do lists and brain dumps and rambles and stuff, because I have like YouTube notes in here as well, like just from like ideas that I have that I need to put somewhere, even though I have a YouTube section in my Notion. Like I have stuff everywhere, and I just kind of like, I want to get everything into one concentrated place for like my life admin stuff, because I'm still gonna like maintain my reading journal. Not this one, I'm moving into a new one next year, but like, you know, my reading journal is like kind of a separate entity from my general life journaling. But I kind of just want to get something that I can combine effectively what I've done in these two into one place. And from the looks of it, the Hobonichi cousin looks like it could work for me, because it's got like the monthlies, the weeklies, and the dailies. So I'm kind of like in my head, I'm like, I can use the dailies for like my thoughts, but like the weeklies and the monthlies for like tracking like being at work and deadlines and like when I want to upload and stuff like that. So that's a completely unrelated like ramble about like journaling, which is kind of like a big part of like me and my life, so it's kind of related to reading a little bit. But yeah, so I'm basically just thinking of getting a Hobonichi cousin for 2024. I don't know if any of you guys have used one. If you have, let me know what you think of it and like how it's worked for you or how it hasn't. I'd be interested to hear like pros and cons of people who have actually experienced it before I, you know, fork out a bunch of money, because they're quite expensive journals. But if it's going to last me an entire year, that would be kind of good, because I got this Leuchtturm because it's like undated, but from what I understand, they have made the grid darker, because I use squared paper when I'm like writing, and from what I understand, they've made the grid darker, which is gonna set me off, because obviously the grid in this is like pale grey, and like apparently they've made it like actually black, and I'm like, I don't really want that, to be honest. So yeah, I'm thinking of going in that direction for my general journaling, because as much as I'm sure people would love for me to like flip through stuff, I'm never gonna do a flip through of my life journal ever, because I have so many pictures of like, you know, me and my real life family and friends and stuff, and I have so many just rambles about my life and personal stuff. So, you know, you can see the outside of it, you're never going to see the inside. I'm sorry. But probably at the end of the year, I will do a flip through of all of my 2023 spreads in my reading journal, no matter how few there are and how many gaps there are. Because even though I will be like showing all of my spreads throughout the year, I feel like it'll be nice to have one video where they're all just kind of flipped through and I can kind of like link back to the videos where I go into more detail about certain spreads and stuff. So yeah, sorry for the journaling rant, that was unnecessary, but it was on my mind and I kind of wanted to get it out there. Because I feel like I can probably talk about like my journaling processes sort of mixed in with my content, because it is just something I really like doing. I don't know if I'll ever try like commonplacing, because that seems unnecessary to me, but who knows. But yeah, going forward, I am, like I said, I'm working earlies, which is 7 to 3 until Friday. So my reading is kind of going to be slow until then. I think my general goal is to maybe try and get a chapter or two of this read done when I get home. 1 chapter minimum, 2 if I'm like pushing it, and more if I, you know, get into a rhythm. But Saturday and Sunday, I'm hoping that I can maybe finish it if I like commit, you know, and that way next week I can start other books. Because I'm hoping to start getting through my physical TBR and stuff and get through books that I've like started and haven't finished. And I have some books that I do really want to read, but I have to get through the physical books I have on the go before I can start any more physical books. So my goal this week is to finish Realms of Wrath and Ruin, survive my work week, and then get through some of my physical reads before I start another digital one, because I do think I know which book I want to pick up next on my Kindle. But yeah, I want to kind of get through physical stuff first. So that's this week going forward. I will hand you over to more B-roll and probably not speak to you until the end of the week on like Saturday or something, maybe Friday night if I've read more of this and can give you an actual update. I just wanted to open this out and apparently give a ramble about journaling, but so yeah. Hello, it's about 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon and I am at the halfway mark of Realms of Wrath and Ruin. So I'm here to give you an update. I think from when my last update was, like in the last vlog, I was like a little bit less than 200 pages in, and I'm on like 259 now, I think. But yeah, I'm about 51% through according to my Kindle. And I don't know if it's because I've been forced to read this slower than the first one because of like work, but I'm not as invested as I was with the first one. Like currently this is kind of sitting at like a 3 stars because I still like the characters enough that it's not a 2-star. I think if I hated the characters it would be a 2-star, but like I need it to hurry up, to be honest. Like, I understand that it's like a character-driven story and you can tell, but like, it feels like nothing has happened. And I hate to say that because I did absolutely like love the first one. Like, for those who haven't seen that vlog, I rated Cities 4.5. So this sitting at a 3 stars is not a good sign. But like, yeah, like stuff has happened, but at the same time, it feels like nothing has happened. I don't know if that makes any sense. But like, it feels like we've started so many plot lines that nothing has happened with most of them. And like, even when stuff happens, it feels like nothing is moving forward in the way that it should be. So that's where we're at right now. And yeah, I can't tell if it's because I absolutely like sped through the first one and I've been forced to read this much slower because of work. But yeah, I'm not as like gripped with it. Like, literally by the 50% mark in the first one, I had to keep going. I wanted to keep reading because I needed to know what happened next. With this one, I'm like, can we just get on with it? Please, can we just keep moving? Can something happen? And I don't want to go into like too many spoilers. I don't want to like give too many spoilers for the first book or like for this one, but I'm gonna try and talk vaguely about what's happening. So we've got currently like 3 threads of things happening in Rounds, because we have Case and Hallie, we have Jove, Clara, and like the rest of their family, and then we have like, not that we've seen it, but we know that this is like an underlying thing that's going on. We have like a biblical, it's like biblical adjacent, like rebellion and the returning aftermath of what happened at the end of the first book. And like, the stuff that happened at the end of the first book that was brought up again, like kind of early on, we've not gone back to that. And I'm like, I feel like we should be caring way more about what like this mass of refugees told us earlier, but no one has mentioned a thing about it since like the refugees happened. And I'm like, do we just not care much about this? And then obviously like the war is going on, and like that's obviously an underlying thing, but even then that's mostly only like vaguely talked about when there's like these sort of more political characters, like I guess trying to gain favor just within the higher society, not even with like the little people. It's like, I don't, it's so much harder to track what is actually important in this one because there's so much happening, which is like, I'm not as big a fan. Or like with Case and Hallie, their relationship is kind of, it's going through stuff because like both of them feel very like separated from one another, and it's like, it's kind of really interesting to see the kind of aftermath of like when you come back from such a big adventure with like this person that you started to fall in love with, and you kind of realize how little you really know about each other. And I think that's interesting, but at the same time it's really frustrating because Case is like lying about a lot, and it's kind of infuriating that like he's tagging along with Hallie going home to figure out her own sort of like life stuff, but he's not telling her the truth about stuff that involves her, and that's irritating me a little bit, and it's making me a little bit frustrated. And like I said, their plotline is running really slow. We are halfway through and they've only just gotten to the point where they might actually be able to get back across to Hallie's home place, which is like fine, but I'm also just like, I cannot begin to fathom what is actually going on with the plot. Like, what are they doing? Where are they going with this? Are we actually going to like connect much more with a lot of the reveals from the first book, because it feels like nothing has been done with that, and I'm 250 pages in. So that's like interesting, I guess. Sort of like alongside sort of like Case and Hallie and then like the Jove storyline, we've obviously got there's like this parallel going on with the brothers, because Jove is really struggling with addiction and stuff and alcoholism, which I think is being handled like really well. It's kind of nice to sort of see that like Jove is still written as a very sympathetic character, but obviously he does stuff that other characters like rightfully call out, and Clara has had her baby, and now he's kind of, I think he's having a bit of an epiphany, but he's still like relapsing at certain points, which I think is like, you know, I've never suffered from addiction, so I can't like say what is and isn't like accurate, but I think it's like, it's being handled well, because he's not being villainized, but he's also not being like coddled, you know? And sort of a similar thing is kind of happening with Case, but it's not as overtly stated as being addiction, because he kind of like, there's been a few moments where he's drunk too much, or like whenever they kind of go somewhere, he does like have an alcoholic drink. And it's like, I think it's kind of interesting that we see the way that Hallie is responding to that in comparison to the way that Clara is responding to Jove. And it kind of really highlights the age difference in these relationships, and like how Jove and Clara have been together for a really long time in comparison to Hallie and Case, who still don't really know how to dance around each other and dance with each other. So I think that's being handled really well and really interestingly, and I think that is like the good part of their like running storylines. But like otherwise, I just don't know what's happening. Plot-wise, I just feel like nothing worthwhile is going on. Like, I enjoyed kind of the first sort of 100-ish pages of like Hallie interacting with like the higher society, but I just feel like the build up to them going back to Stoneset should have been done faster. I feel like that would have helped a lot with the general pacing of this, because I just don't feel like the slow pace is working for the way that Ali Ernest like writes her characters. I don't think they're meshing well, and I just don't think that like it's cooperating well with the way that I enjoyed the first one and the way that I've been reading it. I don't know if it would be different if I had breezed through this like I did the first one, but yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling about this at the moment. I'm hoping that the second half will pick up and I can at the very least maybe bump my rating up to like 3.5, maybe 4 stars. I'd really like to kind of end it with that. But yeah, I'm feeling a little bit disappointed with what's going on with this, because like I said, I still really like the characters and I'm still emotionally invested in like watching them develop and their relationship develop, but it's just this, stuff is happening that I'm like either not following or is boring me. So I'm gonna push through because I want to read this, and I want to be able to read the third one when it eventually comes out. But that's just kind of where I'm at with this, and that is my update. I'm hoping that I can read more of this today and tomorrow, and hopefully I can finish it by the end of this vlog, because I would very much like to give my overall review at the end of this vlog tomorrow before we jump on to next week, which hopefully won't be as slow as this one. But tonight I am doing an all-nighter downstairs to play Uncharted, which I have like in this vlog I've been showing that I've been playing. I'm doing my kind of yearly replay because it's one of my favourite series, as I've mentioned before, and this time I'm playing on crushing, and it is crushing me. So far it's not been too bad, but I played for 2 hours yesterday and I didn't leave the level I was on because it's so difficult. I beat it on hard a couple years ago, and then I didn't come home enough last year to play it on crushing last year, so I'm playing it on crushing this year, and then if I play it again next year I will play it on brutal and I will cry. But I'm hoping that tonight I can get through the last sort of 40-ish% I have of the first game and start the second, because out of the whole series the second and the fourth are my favorites. So I'm really like, I really want to get to the second because my next day's off on until Wednesday and Thursday next week, and I at least want to maybe go into town on Wednesday depending on how I'm feeling, but I'm working late next week, so yeah. That's the rest of today, and I will send you back to the land of B-roll.
Alright, you boys are gonna get all chummy and leave the girl behind again, are you?
Don't even think about it, Sally. She's got a mean right hook. I'll keep that in mind.